Oh, yeah. Is it Saturday already? Have we made it through yet another week of Star Wars news? Holy crap, chat. The last couple days have been insane for Star Wars news, from Ahsoka Season 2, recasting Baylan Skoll, and some other wild stuff that is happening in that second season, to also Skeleton Crew getting a runtime for the finale. Also, who we think's coming in the finale, possibly Mando and Grogu, Thrawn, Hera, Mon Mothma, and others. We'll get to all of it. But without further ado, let's dive into it. What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing on this fine Saturday afternoon? Okay, so like I just mentioned, we got a lot to get to today. Skeleton Crew finale is in a couple days, so we got to predict that and what's going down in that episode. We also still have to kind of break down episode 7, because a lot happened in that episode that we still need to talk about. And even crazier than that, Baylan Skoll has been recast. The rumor around was that he was going to be recast, but we didn't know by who. And now it's been reported that it is the Hound from Game of Thrones. We'll get to it in a little bit, but nobody was predicting that. Not a single person. And honestly, after giving it a little bit of thought, I think it's a great pick, and we'll see how it goes. But that's not the only news when it comes to Ahsoka Season 2. And as you guys know, Ahsoka is my favorite Disney Plus series so far on Disney Plus. So I'm pretty excited. So we got a lot to get into and not a lot of time. But before we get to any of it, let's say hi to everybody in the chat, shall we? What's up, chat? All right, let's do this. Chris, what is up? Fearless, how we doing? Fearless, you changed your profile picture. Mando United in the house. 50 Thunderer, what is up? Nathan, how we doing? Tony in the house. WUV Grad, what is up? Ian, how we doing? The Lonely Clone, what is up? Brandon Baker in the house. Starship 66. Skywalker Academy, what's up? Norman, how we doing? Lucas, what is up? Mike, how we doing? Darth Thor in the house. All right, if I missed you, you know the deal. Just yell at me in the chat. Let's give everybody a nice little...
Hello there.
General Kenobi.
Okay, so I feel like I don't really know where to start. Hang on, this is going to bother me. I always move this thing. Perfect. I don't really know where to start. Ahsoka Season 2 or Skeleton Crew finale. I feel like we should start with Ahsoka Season 2 so we can almost like get it out of the way, because I want to still focus the majority of the stream on Skeleton Crew finale, because Skeleton Crew finale is in a couple days and we don't really have a lot of time to talk about it. So I think we should start with Ahsoka Season 2 and then we should go to Skeleton Crew. Does that work for everybody? Does that work for you guys? And yes, I did just kind of get out of the shower. Did that work for you guys? Good, because you don't have a say. Just kidding. All right, let's do this. Let's do this. Tell me in the chat as I pull this up, on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you for Ahsoka Season 2? Okay? Ahsoka Season 2, again, it's not going to be out for quite some time. They haven't even started filming for the second season. So it's not going to be at least until 2026. So we're talking at least a year. But right now, even with it that far away, on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are we for Ahsoka Season 2? Tell me in the chat, because we got some wild news. It's not just Baylan Skoll being recast, because that is awesome, and we'll talk about it, but there is more. There's a lot more. Look at these scores. 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10 plus, 8.5, 8.5, 8, 10, 7, 7.5, 10, 10, 10. Wow, I bought the Ahsoka Steelbook. Nice. Nice. Okay, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. So first, I feel like we have to start with the recast of Baylan Skoll. I mean, that just makes sense, right? So let's start with that. That was the big news. That was a big headline that Baylan Skoll, who's played by Ray Stevenson, who sadly passed away, has been recast. Now, we had a huge debate for months and months and months as to whether or not he should be recast or deep-faked or just killed off, or maybe his face gets mangled and he gets a mask, or something happens. We were really going over our options. But there was a bit of news a couple months ago that he was going to be recast, or at least that was the rumor, that he was being recast. There was auditions for a recast. Come to find out, and again, this is just a report. I don't believe Lucasfilm has come out and said anything yet, but Baylan has been recast. And it is nobody that anybody was predicting. People were saying Gerard Butler. People were saying Liev Schreiber. People were saying, I'm forgetting a bunch of other names, but Russell Crowe was even one of them. But this guy was never brought up. So let's get to it, shall we? This is coming from The Hollywood Reporter. Game of Thrones actor Rory McCann, I believe it is. McCann? Sure. Replacing the late Ray Stevenson for Ahsoka Season 2. Oh, well, let's. That's better. Okay. Scottish actor Rory McCann, best known for his role as the brutally burly The Hound in the HBO's Game of Thrones, will replace the late actor Ray Stevenson for the second season of the Star Wars show Ahsoka, The Hollywood Reporter has confirmed. This is saying The Hollywood Reporter has confirmed, not Lucasfilm. I'm pretty much 99% sure that he will be the new Baylan Skoll, but again, take it with a giant grain of salt. Stevenson played the hulking former Jedi known as Baylan Skoll in the Disney Plus series. He died after a brief illness in May of 2023, 3 months before the series premiere. The actor was a fan favorite thanks to his resonant performance, humor, and roles in Punisher, Warzone, and Thor movies, and TV's Rome? I don't know what Rome is. But yes, Ray Stevenson is a beloved actor, and his performance as Baylan Skoll, made instantly fans fall in love with him. So the character became a very loved character, not only because Ray Stevenson sadly passed away, but because of his performance. It was incredible. It's a cool new character. When you talk about cool new characters, Baylan Skoll is usually towards the top of that list, if not at the top of that list. So to have a second season of Ahsoka and not explore the character of Baylan Skoll any further would be just wrong. Especially because it left off with him standing on top of the Mortis God statues, staring off into the distance at something that he deems to be extremely important. Yeah. So, since he is sadly passed away, they had to recast the character. And Rory McCann is the new Baylan Skoll. At least, that's the report. So with that, we're going to keep reading, but with that, tell me in the chat, do you like this recast? Do you like it? And before I keep reading, actually, I'm going to put up a poll in the chat. Put up a poll. Okay, if you haven't smashed a freaking like on the stream, I don't know what the hell you're waiting for. Go do that. All right, let's do this. Do you like Rory McCann as Baylan? Yes or no? Tell me in the chat. I want to know what you guys think of this recast. And while you do, let me go back to this article. Okay. Ahsoka star Rosario Dawson is another former Jedi, the titular Ahsoka Tano, who's teamed with a former apprentice in order to stop the evil empire from reforming. Two obstacles in her path were Baylan Skoll and his apprentice Shin Hati, played by Ivana Sakno. Sure. It is unclear when the new season will begin shooting or who will be directing it. Dave Filoni was the showrunner for season 1 and is returning in the same capacity, but we don't know who's going to be directing the episodes. Rory McCann was recently. See, this isn't my fault, chat. Was on the big screen in Gladiator 2. His credits include Egner Wright's Hot Fuzz. Okay. Sure. We won't go through all of his things, but yeah. Oh, he was in the Knuckles show? The more you know. The more you know. And that's it. So again, this is reported by Snyder and confirmed by The Hollywood Reporter, but still no word from Lucasfilm. So far. Hot Fuzz is amazing. I don't even know what it is. But I have seen Game of Thrones, and him as the Hound in the Game of Thrones is incredible. Now, the question becomes, does he look enough like Ray Stevenson where this is not going to take away from the character? Because we were talking about Gerard Butler, we were talking about Liev Schreiber, because they looked so similar to Ray Stevenson. So does Rory McCann look like Baylan Skoll? That's the big question. And here, I mean, I guess I'm asking you guys for your opinion because I don't know. At first, when you look at a picture of the Hound from the Game of Thrones, it looks nothing like Baylan. I mean, maybe a little bit, but no, nothing like it. But now, when you look at a recent picture of Rory, he looks like this. Now, I can already tell you why they chose him. And it's two facial features. Can anybody tell me? Obviously, they're going to put a wig on him, a gray wig, or maybe not even a wig, but they'll just like gray his hair and his beard, whatever that is. White his hair, I guess. But can you tell me, can anybody tell me the two facial features that got him this role? He doesn't look like him. He doesn't look exactly like him, but he looks similar. The beard, no. No. The eyebrows, yes. So the eyebrows are one of them. He's got the same exact, or pretty much same exact, bushy, gigantic eyebrows that Ray Stevenson had. It's almost like perfect. Pretty much. So not much different going on there. But there's one other thing. Height, yes, his height is probably very similar. Eye color, no, I think they're different eye colors. Maybe you'll have to wear some contacts. Cheeks, I'll take it, yes. So this right here. See how they both have these lines going on, like these smile lines, whatever you want to call them, right there, going from their nose down. And their noses are almost identical as well. They both have this sort of scrunch, whatever, next to their eyebrows. They got the same exact nose. They got these smile-ish line things here. Of course, the beard and the eyebrows. That's what Lucasfilm does so well. When you look at Obi-Wan Kenobi, when you look at Ewan McGregor, they casted him as a young Obi-Wan because they literally did tests on his face as to what he would look like when he was Alec Guinness's age, and he looks very similar. Very similar. So that's the reason they cast these characters. They use the facial features to really tell who should be the next role. Now, they've never really had an issue where an actor has died for a second season. That hasn't happened yet. This is their first encounter with that. So they're using the same tactics, looking at facial features to try to create the best actor who can portray the role. Yes, they can put on makeup. They can use CGI a little bit to maybe fix it up. Whatever they have to do. Contacts to make his eye color the same, whatever it is. But the facial features are the biggest thing. You don't want to overdo it with the CGI. So he's got the same eyebrows. He's got the same facial structure. And that's what's big. That's what's really big. And that's what probably got him the role. I have not looked side by side with Gerard Butler or Liev Schreiber if they have these same facial features, but Rory does. And I think, honestly, it's a good choice. And again, we'll have to wait to see Ahsoka season 2, but right off the bat, just seeing side by side here, it does look like a good choice. Obviously, there's some key differences, but they can do that with makeup. They can do that with wigs and whatever you want to do. There's ways around it. Obviously, it's not going to be Ray Stevenson. Clearly. But they're going to try and get it as close as possible. And maybe, just maybe, they'll still go down the route of him having some crazy accident or something that makes his appearance look a little different. Maybe when he goes to free Abeloth, if that's what they're going to go with, then he maybe gets some crazy injury or something that makes him look different. I don't know. But to me, this is a great choice. When you look at the facial features, of course, if you've seen Rory in anything, I've watched him in 8 seasons of Game of Thrones. If you watch him in anything, you know he's a spectacular actor. And filling the shoes of Ray Stevenson is extremely difficult. But I think he's up for the task, and I think he will do a great job at it. But tell me what you think in the chat, because there's even more Ahsoka Season 2 news, okay? I know, I'm a big Ahsoka fan, whatever you want to say, but I'm a huge Ahsoka fan. And honestly, this has got me hyped up. Not just the Baylan Skoll news, but this as well. So, this is all just a rumor. All of this moving forward is a rumor for now, so take it with a giant grain of salt. The biggest grain of salt you can find. Take it with that. But it's exciting nonetheless, and could be teasing something spectacular. Ariana Greenblatt rumored to return in Ahsoka Season 2. Ariana Greenblatt, of course, played young Ahsoka right here, as you can see in the picture, from Ahsoka Season 1 in the flashback scene to the Clone Wars. Now, how could she appear in Ahsoka Season 2? Well, she was only in the first season because it was a flashback. It wasn't really even a flashback. It was a memory, almost, through the World Between Worlds when she was fighting against Anakin Skywalker. It was a lesson. So how are we going to get another appearance of young Ahsoka in Ahsoka Season 2 without the World Between Worlds? Because I really doubt that we were going to the World Between Worlds again in Season 2. The World Between Worlds has only been used twice in Star Wars, and I think it's going to remain that way. It's something that's very secretive, and Dave Filoni has said time and time again, he doesn't want to overuse it and over-explain it, how it works. Some things in Star Wars need to be unanswered, like Yoda's species or the World Between Worlds. So it shouldn't be used in the second season. However, like Smilo Ren says in the chat, this could be warranting more flashbacks. Okay? More flashbacks in Ahsoka Season 2. But the question then becomes, why more flashbacks? What warrants more flashbacks in Ahsoka Season 2? And what will the flashbacks be to? And to give a little bit more of an insight into what those flashbacks might be, I got some even crazier news. Because Hayden Christensen is also rumored to be in Ahsoka Season 2! Are you kidding me? Okay. Okay, chat. Okay, chat!
This is where the fun begins.
And if that's not enough, do you want more? Do you want more? You say you want more, chat? Ewan McGregor is rumored to appear in Ahsoka Season 2! Oh my God! Oh, holy shit. Okay, chat. So if your day wasn't going good yet, if your day wasn't going great, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? All right, chat. I understand. I see people saying it in the chat. Oh my God, Darth Plagueis with a very generous super chat. Let's get to that in a second. Okay. So yes, Obi-Wan, Anakin, Ahsoka, that can only mean one thing, right? That can only mean one thing. And as I can see you all saying it in the chat, and I see Darth Plagueis just at the very generous $5 holla. I appreciate it, Darth Plagueis. Super Chat's membership keeps the lights on over here. I appreciate it. Says flashbacks to the Mortis arc in live action. Ahsoka Season 2 is going to be insane. That's what I think's going on here too. Ahsoka, Anakin, and Obi-Wan can only mean one thing. I mean, it could mean a bunch of things, but it really only means one thing. The Mortis arc from the Clone Wars is coming to live action. Now, you could be saying, Mike, well, it could be any arc from the Clone Wars. No, that's not what's going on here. A flashback to the Clone Wars, just for fan service sake, would not be right in Ahsoka Season 2. It just wouldn't feel right. Because if you're just going back to any random arc in the Clone Wars, just to give us a live-action Hayden and Ewan in Clone Wars armor, it wouldn't be worth it. Unless it's one specific arc. And that arc is the Mortis arc. So if you're unfamiliar, in Season 3, I believe, of the Clone Wars, Ahsoka, Anakin, and Obi-Wan are alerted to a distress signal, and they go out and they end up on Mortis. They end up on this mysterious planet. They get knocked out and wake up on Mortis. There they meet three beings. We'll put it like that. Three beings known as the Ones. Now, these beings are the Mortis gods. They are the Father, the Daughter, and the Son. The living embodiment of the light is the Daughter, the living embodiment of the dark is the Son, and the Father is the balance between them. There we learn that Anakin's real chosen one prophecy is to become the Father, is to become the living embodiment of the balance between the light side and the dark side of the Force, the chosen one, the balance between them. But the crazy part about getting Mortis arc flashbacks in Ahsoka is that Ahsoka doesn't remember ever being there. Yes, Ahsoka dies, comes back to life on Mortis. Yes, Anakin sees the future of him becoming Darth Vader on Mortis, but they all forget that that ever happened. Obi-Wan, Anakin, Ahsoka, none of them have any recollection of the Mortis arc. So how would we get flashbacks in Ahsoka Season 2 to an arc that Ahsoka doesn't even remember herself? Chat? Any answers? Well, Ahsoka Season 1 ended with Baylan Skoll standing on the Mortis God statues, pointing out into the distance at probably Abeloth. But Ahsoka and Sabine are also on Peridia. And at the very end of Ahsoka Season 1, Ahsoka mentions that they are supposed to be there. That is where they are meant to be. Now, what that means, I have no idea. But with the appearance of Mortis God statues, is it possible that Ahsoka is somehow reminded of that arc? And that's when she gets flashbacks, the memories coming back of what happened on Mortis. Tell me what you think. Chat, let's hear it. Oh my God. Darth Drafter with a very generous $20 holla. Holy crap, Darth Drafter. I appreciate that quite a bit. It says flashbacks. Flashbackaroo? Oh, okay. They're tying into the Mortis arc. How awesome. It does seem awesome. But the question becomes how, because Ahsoka doesn't remember that arc. So how are you going to flash back to an arc that Ahsoka doesn't even remember? That's the big question. But with that, I appreciate it, Darth Drafter. I really, really do. Super chats are very, very generous, and I appreciate it. But with that being said, this is a rumor for now. A rumor for now. But Ariana Greenblatt, Hayden Christensen, and Ewan McGregor are all coming back for Ahsoka Season 2, or all coming to Ahsoka Season 2. Ewan was not in the first one, but Hayden and Ariana were. So it's either a Clone Wars flashback, which doesn't make much sense to me, why just flashback to a random Clone Wars arc, or it's a Mortis God flashback, a Mortis arc flashback, which would be absolutely insane. Damn, chat. Damn, chat. Here's the deal. Okay? Ahsoka Season 2 is not for a while. They haven't even started filming it. Okay? So it's probably not till mid to late 2026, at least. But Star Wars Celebration is in April of this year. It's in January, February, March. It's in about 4 months. And we're going to get a lot of announcements at Star Wars Celebration. I mean, a lot of announcements. But this one might be the biggest one. Ahsoka Season 2, whenever its release date may be, or whatever the update we get for it. Whatever Dave Filoni comes out on stage and says is going to be insane. He's probably going to reveal that Rory is recast for Baylan Skoll. And he might even bring out Hayden, Ewan, and Ariana and say they're coming to Ahsoka Season 2. I don't know. It's going to be insane. It's going to be insane. But with that, I house my excitement and I put it to the side. Because I got a whole nother thing of excitement over here that I need to open up. Because the Skeleton Crew finale is in 2 days. 3 days? 3 days, I guess. The Skeleton Crew finale is in 3 days. And we got to talk about this. So yes, that excitement for Ahsoka is fantastic. Mortis God arc. We could speculate about it for the next year and a half. And of course, Baylan Skoll being recast is fantastic news. But we got to talk about Skeleton Crew. Because Skeleton Crew is ending in 3 days. So we got to talk about it. We got to predict the finale. We got to talk about episode 7 a little bit here. So let's do that. And since now it's Saturday and we've had a bunch of time to think about it, you had Tuesday. I guess not really Tuesday. You had Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and now Saturday. You had 4 days to think about it. Rank episode 7 of Skeleton Crew in the chat out of 10. Give me your final ranking for Skeleton Crew episode 7. Now that you've had 4 days to think about it, you've watched it over a couple of times, you're like, okay, I got a pretty good idea of what I think of this 7th episode of Skeleton Crew. What do we think? 9.5, 9, 10, 1,000. Holy crap. 9, 10. I just started watching Skeleton Crew today. Oh my God. Get to it. It's really good. 8, 9.8, 9 out of 10, 8.5, 8.5, 9.2, 7.5, 9, 10, 12, 19. Holy crap. 9.99999. I'm leaving room for episode 8 to be a 10. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. 9, 10, 9, 9, 9, 10. A lot of 9s and 10s. A 2. Oh my God, Norman. Yeah. So I ranked it at a 9.5. It is my favorite episode of the Skeleton Crew series thus far. But I agree with what Mike said, another Mike who loves Star Wars. I'm almost leaving room for the finale. I think the finale will be better. I didn't think that it was a perfect 10 out of 10, that episode. But I think that the finale could be. Now, we're going to talk about run times for the finale. We're going to talk about who could show up for the finale, why I think the Mandalorian and Grogu will show up in this finale. But before we get to that, let's talk about episode 7 first, okay? Because there's this pretty cool list I found of 14 major Easter eggs and references that are being explained from episode 7 that we might have missed. So let's go over this first, shall we? So this comes from Screen Rant. Let's take a look. So number 14 is Jod threatening the kids with a blue lightsaber, mirroring Anakin's Order 66. We talked about this a little bit last stream, but it is very Anakin kills the younglings Order 66 vibes. Now, my deal with this, is I don't think Jod's going to kill the kids. I just don't think so. I don't think he has that in him. Yes, I do think he's a villain. I don't think he's going to become a hero by the end of this show. I think he will remain the villain for the remainder of the show. But I don't think he has it in him to kill the kids. Now, tell me if you think differently in the chat. I don't think he's going to go full Anakin on them. I don't think that's happening. But tell me what you think in the chat. I appreciate the hearts, guys. I really do. But yes, this did mirror Order 66 a lot. We went through how actually every single frame in the final seconds of the episode were the exact same as the younglings in an Anakin Order 66 scene. And that's sort of what we got here. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't this scene specifically, but it's pretty much the same. So Jod threatens the kids with his newly acquired blue lightsaber. Very much mirrors Anakin Skywalker's Jedi Temple return during Order 66. Yeah. I have a bad feeling about this. That was one of the first lines of the episode. That was pretty cool. We always see that. Skeleton Crew kids playing Grav Ball, a very popular Star Wars game. Aboard the Onyx City, the kids are briefly shown playing Grav Ball before arrival on At-Atten. Grav Ball is a classic Star Wars game played by children across the galaxy, most notably on Corellia and Lothal, which is pretty cool. Connection to Lothal, which is connection to Ezra. But there's a possibility we could be seeing Ezra in the finale. Just saying. Number 11 is Don't Look Like Treasure Planet to Me, another connection to Disney's Treasure Planet. So many connections to Treasure Planet in this series, as people keep pointing out to me time and time again. But this was a big one. Brutus refers to At-Atten as a treasure planet in Skeleton Crew Episode 7, a term that many Star Wars fans have been using already, thanks to the similarities the show's plot has with the animated Disney film that has the same name. As Brutus says, Treasure Planet further cements the parallels between the classic Disney Plus movie. An endless storm, similar to other Star Wars planets. We talk about, Camino, but this is from the High Republic too, another connection to the High Republic. But the endless storm over at Atten brings to mind other planets such as Camino or the Tempest during Everon, which is the home world of Marchion Ro, and Marchion Ro is the leader of the Nihil from the High Republic books. Number 9 is a familiar planet. Pirate. Easy for me to say. Snub Fighter in Skeleton Crew Episode 6. This was seen in Mandalorian Season 3. Same pirates, or different pirates, but same ships. Pirates, ships, same thing. Star Wars. Makes sense. So these were the ships in the Mandalorian. That's Din Djarin right there. And then this is the one from Skeleton Group. Same ship. Same pirate ship. Ravager 1. Now, this is pretty cool because this sort of connects to the Old Republic a little bit. We've had some Old Republic references in this Skeleton Crew series, but this is just another one. Our boy... Shit, I forget his name already. What was his name? Glurb? Is it Glurb? Glurb? Is it Glurb, chat? I think so. Glurb? Bob? No, his name wasn't Bob. His name was Glurb, right? I think it's Glurb. Our boy Glurb, who wanted his glow weed plantation. You know, his nice glow weed plantation. He never got that. He died. Yeah. He's dead. He's a goner. But he flies through at Atton's Maelstrom, referred to himself as Ravager 1. This may be a connection to the Ravengers, a pirate gang of from Legends located on the planet of Rishi, who first debuted in the Old Republic Shadow of Revan. Likewise, the planet Rishi was featured in the first season of the Clone Wars. So another connection, or possible connection, to the Old Republic. There's very little actual Old Republic references in this show, but they're all sort of teases at the Old Republic, just like this one. Like Ravager 1 is almost a reference to the Ravengers, but it's not exactly that, you know? Jod and Brutus arguing. Yeah, it's kind of a lot of Pirates of the Caribbean stuff. When you talk pirates, obviously you're going to have connections to Pirates of the Caribbean and other pirate projects like that. But yeah, that's very true too. Satellite defense grid in action, not unlike Palpatine's Onyx Cinder. So we talked about the connection between these satellites in Onyx in Operation Cinder before, when episode 4 happened, because outside of at Akron there was the destroyed satellites, and we talked about how they looked very similar to Operation Cinder's satellites and the Starlight Beacon from the High Republic era as well. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Number 5 is at Atton's mirrors notable Star Wars worlds. Oh, we're talking Tanalorr here. Interesting. Oh, not just Tanalorr, but also Kessel and Zeb's peoples, the Lasat's home planet, and Exegol. Okay. At Atton is seemingly revealed to be an artificial box system in terms of first use in Timothy Zahn's Thrawn novels, as described a planet and system are very hard to access with few points of entry. More naturally occurring box systems include Star Wars worlds such as Kessel, Lasan. Really, the Lasat's home world is called Lasan? The more you know. Tanalorr, in the most notable Palpatine's secret Sith world of Exegol, which is hidden in the unknown regions behind a collection of hyperspace anomalies. It's not even abnormal. Why was I saying abnormal, chat? Guess I can't read. Anomalies, known as the Red Honeycomb Zone or Blood Net. Okay. Number 4, the voice of the supervisor in Skeleton Crew episode 6. So people have noticed that it's Stephen Fry in the credits. Some people, like Star Wars Santa, shout out to Star Wars Santa. Not the first time we'll be shouting him out in this stream, because he's the one who found the runtime for episode 8, the finale. Stephen Fry bears a very striking resemblance in voice and in appearance to the Wizard of Oz. Now, he is not himself the Wizard of Oz, but he does have a very similar appearance. But the voice of Atton's supervisor is finally heard over the intercom in Skeleton Crew episode 7. While he's not seen on screen, the mysterious leader of Atton is none other than actor Stephen Fry. I'm still thinking that the supervisor is just a droid. Tell me in the chat if you think otherwise. It makes the most amount of sense that he is a droid. But some people are still holding out hope that it's going to be either Tack Renid or somebody who's actually still alive. But tell me what you think in the chat. Okay. As such, This feels like a good sign that the supervisor will be shown on screen in Skeleton Crew's finale. Stephen Fry and Jude Law were both in 2011's Sherlock Holmes: A Game of Shadows, where Law played Dr. John Watson, while Fry played Mycroft Holmes. Is that Sherlock's dad or something? Maybe. There you go. That's Stephen Fry right there. Him and Jude Law have a history together, I suppose. Yeah. Ren's treasure is buried deep within At-Aten. Again, a reference to Disney's Treasure Planet. You can see right there. I hope you'd be pleased. Now, this was pretty interesting. Some people were saying how similar these droids on At-Aten were to the Kaminoans. Not only in sort of appearance, because they have those long necks and circular heads almost, and that's what the droids look like on At-Aten, but in what they say. As they head down to the vaults, conversation between Jod and the droids, while he's pretending to be the emissary, mirrors the exchange between Obi-Wan Kenobi and the Kaminoan Prime Minister. When Jod comments on the oppressive operation they're running, the droid is almost exactly what Prime Minister Lama Su says to Obi-Wan while showing him the clone armies that Kamino has created in secret for the Republic ahead of the Clone Wars. And that is, I hoped you would be pleased. A little strange. Maybe it's just a parallel just for parallel's sakes. Maybe there's a connection there. I doubt it. But hey, what are you going to do? We'll see. And of course, number one, it always has been, it always will be, the amount of vaults is 1,139. Not a coincidence. THX 1138. And actually, Lucasfilm themselves has confirmed this. If I scroll down here. Yeah. Episode 7 trivia. The security droid notes that there are 1,139 vaults, meaning they are 1,138 more, other than the one they are currently in. And that number is a nod to George Lucas's THX 1138, which is often used in Star Wars lore. So that has been confirmed to be on purpose. And of course, a little Easter egg going on there. Yeah. So those are the Easter eggs you might have missed in that last episode, but that's pretty dang cool if I do say so myself. Oh, another Mike who loves Star Wars with a very generous $5 holla. Mike, I appreciate that quite a bit. Says, did you notice the slight grin from Jod right when Wim is reuniting with his dad, right before he turns on the lightsaber? Redemption arc coming. I did catch the grin, but I don't think that was because of Wim and his dad getting back together. If we go back to the scene, I can actually pull it up here. If we go back to that scene, he's grinning at Fern, not... Yeah, here it is. Perfect. So he walks over. And Fern looks over at him. So this is what happens first. Then if I press play and pause really quickly, he's looking at Fern, and he gives a little smirk. Now, the smirk is more so to a little bit of a nod at Fern going, hey, don't say anything or I'll chop up your parents. Jod's not a bad guy. Oh my God. Chat, do we really still think that Jod's going to come back around in this finale? Do you think that Jod Wood, the guy who literally chopped off SM33's head, killed Brutus, you think he's going to come back around, threaten the kids to chop up their kids? I mean, their parents? Now, I will give you this. I don't think this is going to end with him chopping up the parents. I don't think that Jod is going to just slice and dice all of them in this scene. Clearly, that would mean the end of the show, and that wouldn't really make for a great finale now, would it? But I definitely don't think he's going to end up being a good guy. Could be a season 2. Well, yes and no. I think there could be a season 2 for Skeleton Crew, which we can talk about. But it would be a pretty big time jump in between seasons, as John Watts and Christopher Ford have confirmed themselves. If they were to do a second season, which they do want to do, then there would be at least a 3 or 4 year time jump in between seasons because the kids get a lot older really quickly. Yeah. I don't think he will turn good. Me either. Droid camera heads could be transmitting their footage off-world to who knows where exactly, and they're sending the footage that they're capturing. We assume that the supervisor's tower, or assume that it's to the supervisor's tower. Well, they're definitely not sending it off-world. However, I'm sure whoever the supervisor is, whether it's a droid or whatever, they are monitoring everything that's going on this planet. At least, like you said, the security droids or the safety droids look like they are cameras themselves. So at least everything that the security droids are seeing, the supervisor is likely seeing as well. Yeah. Jedi Jarvo says, no, he is a villain as he has always been. Him caring about the kids has always been fake. He's just in it for the treasure. Exactly. That's what I've been saying this whole time. He has never been a good guy. Never once in this season has he ever been a good guy. Think about it. Every person they come into contact with has had an issue with Jod and has told the kids to not trust him. The kids only trusted him because he was their only hope to getting back home. And he was persuading them to because they have a treasure that he wants. To make matters even worse, or I guess better for him, he wants this treasure so bad that he is willing to sacrifice, or not sacrifice himself, but put himself in harm's way to protect these kids. At least until episode 5 when he gets the coordinates himself and doesn't need the kids anymore. And he immediately turns on them. So never once was this Jod Nawood character a good guy. So seeing him turn, seeing him come back to the light, so to speak, in this finale is highly unlikely. But tell me what you think in the chat, okay? Tell me what you think in the chat. Will Jod turn back to the light? Doubt it. Yeah. Definitely no redemption arc. I agree. Jod may end up with Thrawn. Interesting. So I've talked about this for the last couple of weeks about Thrawn possibly showing up in this finale because whoever controls this massive vault full of credits is likely to... Hang on if I can find it. Yeah. Whoever controls this giant vault of credits is going to control the war. So if Thrawn comes in, he could use these billions upon billions of credits to fund his heir to the Empire, to make ships, to make an army, like whatever he wants, he can make because he has all these credits. So if Thrawn wants to win the war, he's going to have to get this. And somebody brought up in the chat the other day that it's possible that this money right here is what funds the First Order as well. So if Thrawn gets control of it and then loses, he loses to the New Republic, to Luke, to the heroes, to Din Djarin and Grogu. If he loses, then where does that money go? Well, maybe it funds the First Order. Because the First Order rises to power so quickly and takes over very, very fast. Now, a lot of that has to do with Snoke and Kylo Ren's fall to the dark side and Luke going into hiding and all that stuff. But the First Order didn't just appear out of nowhere. They went from the remnant of the Empire, very spread out, not that many people, not that many stormtroopers, to an entire army with new stormtrooper armors, new TIE fighters, new ships, new everything. Where did they get all the money for that? It might be right here in front of our stupid faces. Or really smart faces, sorry. So it seems like somehow, some way, the First Order got an insane amount of funding, and it would make sense that we're looking at it right here. It might not be right away, but maybe Thrawn wins at Atten in this finale, and then that money eventually gets transferred to the First Order. What do we think? Yeah. Darth Thor says, hell no. Jod will die at the hands of Ezra or Luke in Thrawn's trilogy. Interesting. Interesting. So that would mean that Thrawn would have to show up in this finale and take over. And take Jod with him. Definitely take Jod with him. Yeah. I don't know about trillions, but billions, yeah. Well, I mean, think about it. When he gets closer to these credits, like that's one credit right there. Like my mouse right now is over one credit. That's another one. So if this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37. At least 42, and I probably missed a bunch. By your guessing like 10-ish, whatever it is. I mean, you're talking this one block alone is probably over 40,000 credits, at least. So now if we go back to this frame here, one of those blocks I was just talking about was this tiny, like smaller than my mouse or smaller than my mouse right here. Smaller than it. Way smaller, actually. So you're talking billions at least in just this one vault. There is 1,138 other vaults. And we're not even seeing the full extent of this one vault because it turns to the right there and turns to the left over there too. So, yeah, I'm pretty confident when I say trillions upon trillions upon trillions of credits. Yes, indeed. Can I get some good cups full of orders in the chat, please? Bum-ba. Okay. A trillion is an unimaginable large number. I agree with you, and I still say it's trillions. Like, look at how big this vault is. I'd love for some, like, mathematician or something to get out a calculator and figure this out. Let's say one of these tiny little blocks right here on the side is at least 100,000. At least. That means one of these squares of like a palette or whatever you want to call it is over 1 million easy. Probably multiple millions. If not 1 billion. Probably. I mean, the credits are so tiny that this gigantic stack on stack on stack on stack on stack is a shit ton of credits. Yeah. That's the UK's debt. Oh, I mean, yeah, the United States is in trillions upon trillions upon trillions of debt. Anyway, maybe this is really just a fund or to get out of debt for the world. Already got your calculator? All right, well, Rachel, figure it out. Figure it out. What if the supervisor is so hyperfixated with credits so that he just makes them for fun? The supervisor, I think, is a droid. I don't think he's really going to have that big of a role in this finale. Yeah. Yeah. The First Order would need trillions to build the Empire and then Palpatine's Final Order as well. Well, Palpatine's Final Order is a little bit different because he builds that pretty much on his own with the Sith cultists on Exegol. But I'm talking, you had to build Starkiller Base, which I'm guessing is easily a couple $1 trillion to build that. You had to build all the new Star Destroyers, all the new Stormtrooper armor, all the new X-Wings, all the new TIE Fighters, everything. You had to build everything. They have all new armor, all new guns, all new everything in the First Order, in the sequel trilogy. So they had to fund that. So how do you go from just being a remnant of the Empire scattered across the Outer Rim to this massive collective new armor, new ships, new everything? It's at least 7 credits there. Okay, thank you. Yeah, that makes sense. At least 7. Yeah. Yeah, sounds good. Yeah. Oh, wait, what? Oh, Star Wars Jedi podcast with a very generous $5 holla. I appreciate that quite a bit. Says, could this be an Empire Strikes Back style cliffhanger where we are left with a huge cliffhanger till the Mandalorian and Grogu movie comes out? Yes. I think so. Here's the deal. When Ahsoka ended last year, I said a similar statement. I said, this is the Empire Strikes Back to the Mandalorian's A New Hope. The Mandalorian was A New Hope. Think about it. After the sequel trilogy, this fandom was very, very divided, not knowing whether or not they were even going to watch Star Wars anymore. Some fans, like people, really, really disliked the Last Jedi and the Rise of Skywalker. However you feel about it doesn't matter whether you like it or not. It's fine, perfect. But when The Mandalorian season 1 came around, it was almost like A New Hope for a lot of Star Wars fans. It was very reminiscent of this original trilogy in a way that wasn't copying it, but it felt like the same thing. And then season 2 was a banger. Season 3, some people don't like as much, but I like it quite a bit. It was A New Hope. But then Ahsoka comes out, and Ahsoka introduces, establishes, and sets up the big villain, and that is Grand Admiral Thrawn. The first half of Ahsoka is telling us who Thrawn is, why he's such a big threat for those who don't know who he is, and all that stuff. And then they introduce us to Thrawn in the second half of the season and set up Thrawn to be the new villain moving forward. He gets back to the Star Wars galaxy. He gets to Dathomir with all the Night Sisters and all those crates full of possibly undead Night Sisters or sleeping Night Sisters. So Thrawn has been set up in an heir to the for the heir to the Empire, but in an Empire Strikes Back type of way. The good guys don't win at the end of Ahsoka. So maybe Skeleton Crew is almost an extension of that. The same way that The Mandalorian was The New Hope, but it was 3 seasons. Maybe Skeleton Crew is an extension of the good guys losing and Thrawn coming in to fund his army. It's possible. It's very possible. So I think, So I think this finale could go the way of the bad guys winning. Thrawn coming in, taking over At-Aten, taking these credits for his own. Maybe even destroying At-Aten. I don't know. I could definitely see it going that way. But I could also see it going the other way. The good guys winning. The pirates losing. Jod may be getting away and surviving, but the good guys winning. And here's why, okay? Right now, when you look at it, when you're predicting what's to come in episode 8, we assume that Jod is going to be successful in getting the barrier down and getting the pirates down to the surface. And that becomes a big issue because the people of At-Aten are not prepared for a war. That's for sure. So these pirates are going to have a very easy time of taking care of business and taking care of these people on At-Aten. However, there is or could be help on the way. We talked about this before, but KB in episode 3 is told by Kim, the owl, if she ever needs help to call her. So if she needs help, which she's going to when these pirates inevitably get down to the surface of At-Aten, she's going to call Kim. And Kim's going to contact the New Republic. So it's highly likely that in this finale, there will be this big battle for At-Aten, and it will be between the pirates and the New Republic. But who shows up for the New Republic is the big question. Is it just going to be a couple X-Wings, or is it going to be an entire fleet? Will it be led by General Hera Syndulla and the Ghost, and Jason Syndulla, and maybe even see Zeb and Ezra and Chopper? Or will it be Carson Teva and a bunch of randoms? Maybe Omega. Or will it be the guy who's closest, the guy who's close by, who can get there quick enough? And that is Din Djarin and Grogu. So when we talk about the Mandalorian and Grogu movie coming out in about 1.5 years, it sounds far away, but it is, after Skeleton Crew, the next Mandoverse project to be released in this time period. In the time period after the original trilogy, before the sequel trilogy, this Mandoverse time period, The Mandalorian and Grogu is the next project. So the question becomes, will Skeleton Crew, this finale for Skeleton Crew, set up that movie? Will we see Din and Grogu find out about At-Aten, still working for the New Republic, find out about At-Aten, maybe even come into contact with Grand Admiral Thrawn? Will that just happen in Skeleton Crew's finale to set up the Mandalorian and Grogu movie? What do we think, chat? And with that, I'm going to put up a poll. I'm going to put up a poll in the chat because this one, by the way, is a great sign. Almost 90% of you that Rory McCann is cast as Baylan Skoll. Love to see that. But let's put this up. Do you think Din and Grogu will be in Skeleton Crew finale. Yes or no? Do you think The Mandalorian and Grogu will be in this finale, setting up their movie in a year and a half? What do we think? Darth Thor says one X-Wing would be great to save them. Well, if it was Luke Skywalker, yeah. Well, what if we put it this way? What if they call out for help and the only person who can respond is Din and Grogu because they're nearby? Mandalore, we know, is nearby. Now, we know that Din is obviously not on Mandalore, but Navarro is in the Outer Rim as well, so it's likely that Navarro is close by to At-Atin as well. So let's say Din and Grogu are the only ones who can respond quick enough, or maybe some other X-Wings with them. Very little help from the New Republic because the New Republic's not that strong. They don't have a big outreach to the Outer Rim, so it's a very small helping party. So you get to see an awesome, cool scene of some X-Wings and Din Djarin flying in on his N1 starfighter, blasting down the pirates like, boop, 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 boop. Whoa. And it's crazy. It's an awesome, cool fight scene, and then boop, out of hyperspace, the Chimera and a gigantic fleet of just star destroyers of the remnant of the Empire comes out of nowhere and just absolutely destroys the pirates, absolutely destroys Din, who barely gets away with Grogu, and all the X-Wings go kaboom. That's why when we met the X-Wing people in episode 3, they were people we never met before. One of them was Commander Kent or something like that, and it wasn't Carson Teva because he's gonna die. The X-Wings are all going to go kaboom when Thrawn shows up and absolutely obliterates them. So this show ends on a very dark note, but it also ends with Din Djarin and Grogu seeing with their own 2 eyes the big blue meanie, Grand Admiral Thrawn. Setting up the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, where Grogu and Din now know who the big threat is, who the big boss is, who's in charge. What do we think, chat? What do we think, chat? I think Din and Grogu in Skeleton Crew might draw too many parallels to the Book of Boba Fett. The cameo might just be bad juju. I disagree. I think Din and Grogu being in Book of Boba Fett was a necessity. When you look at the Book of Boba Fett, without those 2 episodes with Din and Grogu, that show is 4 or 5 episodes at best, and it's not going to be looked at as a great show or a good show even. Those 2 episodes with Din and Grogu carry that show quite a bit. And I'm actually a Book of Boba Fett fan. So I see it more so as Din and Grogu should be in all these other projects because it's supposed to be an interconnected time period in the storyline. The fact that they weren't in Ahsoka kind of makes sense, but other characters were. Carson Teva was. I guess Hera, but Hera wasn't in The Mandalorian. Ahsoka was. Ahsoka was in The Mandalorian. So there's already connections there. Yeah. Inklet with a very generous $5 holla says, do you think the announcement from the supervisor was pre-recorded and plays automatically when a ship passes through the barrier? Yes. Yes. Okay, and I need an impression. I got you. I got you. I can do my best. Wait, what? Oh, I forgot he dies. He dies in Rise of Skywalker? They did our boy dirty like that? Okay. This is Star Wars, but only the Nia. This is awesome. Okay. Hang on, check out this opening. Okay.
The data brought to us by the...
I just want to hear him talk here. There we go.
All fighters accounted for. You let that shield down on time.
What did he say?
Admiral, we're in position. All fighters accounted for.
What?
Let that shield down on time.
What?
All right, stand by. All wings report in.
Doe? I want to hear him laugh because doesn't he have a great laugh?
Let's see if we can get a few of those TIE fighters.
There it is. Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy. Half my impressions are just making Mike do random noises. I guess they are. I mean, pretty much all of them are, but, you know, what are you going to do, I guess? Okay, moving on. I appreciate it, Inklet. I really, really do. But going back to the first part of your thing, yes, I think the supervisor's recording was a pre-recording of that message that's been recorded for hundreds of years. There clearly hasn't been people on At-Aten in quite some time. This Republic emissary hasn't been to At-Aten in hundreds of years. So, yeah. Andy K, what's up? Sorry, Mike. Nice fanfic, though. Well, here's the deal. I get that my theory sounds crazy. Din Djarin showing up, Thrawn showing up after, and then Din gets to see Thrawn with his own two eyes so that it sets up Thrawn as the big bad. But here's the deal. Din and Grogu have no idea who Grand Admiral Thrawn is. A lot of characters do. Hera does, Zeb does, Ezra does, Sabine does, Ahsoka does. All those people, the Rebels crew, they know. They've had a history with Thrawn. They know who he is. But the new people, the Din Djarins, the Grogus, they have no idea. And here's the deal. Neither do the normie fans. So people who don't read the Legends novels, people who don't watch Star Wars Rebels, they don't know who Thrawn is unless they've seen Ahsoka. And some Star Wars fans only watch the movies, and they know that. They know that. So even with the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, Din and Grogu, it's almost their first introduction to some normie fans who only watch the Star Wars movies. And so will Grand Admiral Thrawn. So they have to not only set up Thrawn as the new villain in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, but they also have to set up Din and Grogu knowing who that character is. Having a pre-existing notion of who that is and why they should be scared of him. With Moff Gideon, it was great. Moff Gideon was the one who destroyed Mandalore, destroyed Din Djarin's home. He knew exactly who he was. And Moff knew exactly who Din was, too, and it was badass. That was a great entrance, a very Thrawn-like entrance, actually. So immediately, when you get introduced to Moff Gideon at the end of Mando Season 1, you go, okay, we should know who this is. Or they have a history together. Not one-on-one history, but they at least know of each other. Moff Gideon was the one who turned Mandalore to glass, and Moff Gideon knows who Din Djarin is. He knows his whole childhood and backstory. Thrawn needs to be the exact same. They need to have a history together. And right now they don't. Din and Grogu have no idea who this guy is. They don't know. This big blue meanie? Who cares? We don't know who that is. So they got to figure it out. They got to somehow have a history together. It's like Vader showing up in A New Hope. When Darth Vader shows up in A New Hope, in the first opening scene, they all know who Vader is. They're all running from him on purpose. They know who this is. So we're right into the middle of the story going, okay, this guy's scary. Everybody's scared of him, and they should be. But if Thrawn goes up to Din Djarin and is like, hey, what's up? He'll be like, hey, how's it going? Like, he won't be scared of him. And in turn, the audience won't be either. So they need to sort of get this Thrawn fella a big win at the end of Skeleton Crew to set him up to be the villain and set him up to be known across the galaxy. Because right now, Ahsoka Season 1 ended with him just arriving to the galaxy. He hasn't done anything yet. He hasn't scared the galaxy. He doesn't have control of the galaxy. So he needs to do something in this Skeleton Crew finale, I think, to establish him as a big threat to the rest of the galaxy who doesn't know who Grand Admiral Thrawn even is. But that's just me. And maybe it's not that they see each other. Maybe it's not Din Djarin sees Thrawn with his own two eyes. But maybe he hears about what he did. or Thrawn has to do something great in the galaxy that makes him a big threat. I appreciate the hearts, guys. I really do. He has to. Yeah. Freddie says, I think this show is going to introduce the Rangers of the New Republic, so I expect the X-Wings to come to the rescue. No. The Rangers of the New Republic show was scrapped a long time ago, and I think it's going to remain that way. Yeah. No one is scared of Disney Thrawn. Well, I will disagree with that, actually, because Thrawn is set up so well in Star Wars Rebels. Like, his first appearance in Star Wars Rebels is so badass. His first encounter with Hera Syndulla, where he just knows everything about Hera's past, it's awesome. But I will give you that the normie fans, they don't even know who Thrawn is. Don't even know. Yeah. Oh, Rose with the very generous $5 holla. I appreciate that, Rose. Says, sorry for joining late. Rose, you're late? Are you kidding me? No, I'm kidding. Thank you for being here. Sorry for joining late. Did you already talk about Jod equal Petro theory? Petro? Oh, Padawan from the Old Republic, from the Clone Wars. Okay. Odd, but I like it. Padawan from the Clone Wars, sorry. Can you do a Jod hungry speech? We're all hungry! Hope that was sufficient for you. But I can't really find that without getting a copy struck. So that was my best Jod impression. But let's talk about Jod being from the Clone Wars, being a Jedi. Tell me in the chat, do you think Jod Nawood is a Jedi? Now, I will tell you this. I'm about 98% sure, 98% sure, that the finale of Skeleton Crew will still feature a backstory explanation for Jod Nawood, explaining how he was able to wield the Force, explaining where he's from, and explaining why he is the way that he is. 98% sure. And we will get to why in a second. We are not searching the buffet. Yes, exactly. No. I will get to why in a second. But tell me in the chat, do you think that Jod was once a Jedi at the Jedi Temple on Coruscant? Or just a Jedi in general? But I appreciate it, Rose. I really, really do. Let's do this. Let's do this. Interesting. Very interesting. Oh, Troy with a very generous $2 holla. I appreciate that. Says, Mike, do you like Black Series minifigures? I will say I don't have many of them. I actually don't even have any right behind me, but I do have a few, and they are cool. But I don't go collect them, you know? But I do like them, yeah. I like them. I'm more so gifted them at times, you know. Indeed. Okay. But tell me what you think. Is Jod going to be a Jedi? And if not, then what was his backstory? How is he able to wield the Force? So let's talk about this. I'm going to put up a poll because I'm going to end this one. This is crazy. I wish I could have kept this one up longer, but oh my God, really? So do you guys think that Din and Grogu will be in this finale? I think it's very likely they will be, but 69%, nice. 69% of you say no. They will not. Interesting. Okay. Let's put up a new poll. Magnets, you still think he's not even a Force user? Oh my God. He's clearly a Force user, if that wasn't made clear from any of the episodes that came before, but it's so crazy. Some people still don't even think he's a Force user. Wild. But do you think he was once a Jedi? Do you think Jod was once a Jedi? Yes or no? So I can see this going either way. I know 98% that we will be getting an explanation, maybe not a flashback, but an explanation to how Jod is able to wield the Force, whether it's through a flashback or just him explaining it. 98% sure we will. But that 98% sure of learning his backstory does not mean I am 98% sure that he is a Jedi. Because I am pretty much 50-50 on this. Whether he could be a Jedi or not. Now, if he's not a Jedi, where he learned the Force it becomes hard, to put it lightly. Where he could have learned the Force from outside of the Jedi Order during that time period, it's a very few and very limited options. You got Count Dooku, you got Palpatine, you got maybe Darth Maul. And unless it's a new character or a new faction of the Force, then that's pretty much it. Unless he learned the Force way after Order 66, which could be a possibility. He's a Boken Jedi. But will he be a Jedi? Now, here's why I think that we will definitely be getting his backstory. And Forbes wrote this article that actually kind of explains how episode 7 teased at Jod's origin story and how episode 8 will actually lean more into that. So let's talk about this. So this, can't see that. Skeleton Crew just brilliantly revealed Jod Nawood's origin. Probably. Okay. Star Wars Skeleton Crew series continues to be one of the best things Disney Star Wars has produced. I agree with that 100%. The last night had an exciting penultimate episode before its season series, possibly, finale. Ahead of this, I just bit my frickin' tongue, son of a...
I got a bad feeling about this.
Okay. Ahead of the episode, Jude Law said we would learn a lot about his character, Pirate Jod Nawood, and many thought that would be a flashbacks in episode 7. But the origin story, that did not happen. But if you're paying attention, that is kind of exactly what happened, okay? What was on display here was a look at how Jod must have molded into the slippery Force-using pirate he is today. The idea here is that he was a youngling that escaped the Order 66 purge of almost all Jedi, a crusade led by Anakin Skywalker on orders from Palpatine. So I already have a problem with this theory from Forbes because Jod is 52 years old. At least the actor Jude Law is 52 years old. So if the character is also 52 years old, that would make him in his 20s during Order 66. So it's unlikely that he was still a youngling during the time of Order 66. But hey, maybe. Do you recognize some moments from Revenge of the Sith in episode 7? Well, you should have. Namely, the famous scene where Anakin enters the room full of younglings and pops out his lightsaber and then cuts them down. We know he butchers them all. This is the scene they were talking about here. Oh, okay. Here we go. I don't know why this is... Can we get rid of this? No, okay. That sounds like projection to me, like... What? Oh, sorry. We missed a part here. We see that same shot here with the kids, and then it's Jod... And then it's what Jod says to them, which seems especially harsh in that moment. Poor boy, is what he says to Wim. And he says, what exactly are you going to do? You're all weak, sheltered, spoiled children. And that sounds like projection to me. And either what was said to Jod or what he felt in the moment going up to the clone troopers or maybe even Anakin. It seems it would explain why he has Force powers now, unless that's 2 is a con. Okay, this I hate. I know there's some people out there that still think that he's not a Force user, but it's clear he's used the Force multiple times in the Skeleton Crew series that it can't be explained by magnets or whatever you want to call it. Okay? Okay. So their theory here is that Jod is projecting to the kids about how they're soft and weak and whatever, and this seems like a moment going back to him confronting the clone troopers or even Anakin himself, which I seriously doubt. But let's keep going. The timeline mostly adds up. Order 66 took place around 19 BBY. Skeleton Crew takes place around 9 ABY, and this is kind of... Even that is up for debate. But that's 28 years from Order 66. And while I'm not sure how long it can be considered a youngling, 9, maybe 10 years old, or how old Jod is supposed to be, Jude Law is 52, but he could be playing a much younger character. I can buy this still working, but frequently, Star Wars show watchers may remember Reva in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series had essentially the same origin story, a surviving youngling who eventually became an Inquisitor. Then, in the gaming world, Cal Kestis was a Padawan who survived Order 66. I suppose this would be a third branch of the path, but Cal Kestis became a Jedi. Reva became an Imperial employed Inquisitor, while Jod is just a freelance scoundrel pirate who is kind of evil but mainly just greedy. So is this right? Well, we'll have to wait and see for the finale. So do you agree with them? Do you think Jod was a youngling during the time of Order 66 and was a survivor of Order 66? This really shocks me because the poll right now in the chat is currently at 53 to 47. 53% of you saying no, 43% of you saying yes, that Jod was once a Jedi. Still, this poll is pretty much split 50-50 down the middle. Now, I'm going to leave the poll up there for a little bit to see if it fluctuates either way. But for weeks now, this poll has remained at 50-50, whether or not he is a Jedi or not. Now, there's an argument to either side. On one hand, you could say, yes, he's definitely a Jedi. One, he's quoting Qui-Gon Jinn. In episode 5, I believe it was, when he's talking to Wim, he says the line that Qui-Gon said to Anakin in The Phantom Menace, which is, your something dictates your reality. What's the line, chat? I always forget this line now. Yeah. Whatever the line is, he quotes Qui-Gon Jinn exactly. He also talks about how Jedi don't have attachments. He knows the Jedi way. Now, he knows it in sort of a different way because he's explaining how you should forget about your parents, forget about everybody that you love and know and whatever. He's looking at it in more of a negative way, where the Jedi see it more so as a distraction and they're trying to protect the rest of the galaxy. They're trying to protect the people of the galaxy. Your focus determines your reality. Yes, thank you, Rachel. Your focus determines your reality. Yeah, thanks, Troy. That was the quote from Qui-Gon. So he's quoting Qui-Gon Jinn. He knows the ways of the Jedi Order. These are all arguments towards him. He knows how to wield a lightsaber. These are all arguments towards him being a Jedi. Now, the arguments against it are a Jedi would never do this. A Jedi would never do what he's doing right now. But even that can be argued against. Anakin did it. Dooku did it. With a little bit of persuading from Palpatine. But either way, they still turned to the dark side and murdered Jedi. So, was Jod a Jedi? That still remains the question. What his backstory may be. Now, before you say, Mike, they're clearly not going to focus on Jod's backstory in this finale, there's not enough time. Time is a big issue here. And we'll get to the runtime for this episode in just a little bit. But time is a big issue. We have so many unanswered questions going into this final episode for Skeleton Crew and almost not enough time to answer all of them. So Jod's backstory almost doesn't seem like a necessity for what's to come. And yet it might be the most important thing. Jude Law, and I've pulled up this article 1,000 times, it feels like at this point, but with an article from Entertainment Weekly, was asked about what he can say in terms of a backstory for his character in the ways of the Force. And his response was this. That doesn't really come out right until the end. So his background of his character in terms of the Force doesn't come out until the end, the final episode. And at the end, you really get an insight into his backstory. I don't know about you guys, but episode 7 didn't give me an insight into his backstory. Not at all. So that's still to come. That is still to come in the finale. And it will also explain why he may be a Force user or is Force sensitive. And that was a detail that was always there. From the creators John and Chris and Jude, always making sure that they knew that they were on the same page about where Jod was born and what happened to him. That's important. That's very important. And that must be explained in the finale. He goes on to say this too. It's a very revealing page in his past. He would say he's not someone who had a childhood. And he also goes on to say that his childhood was snatched away from him, much like the Jedi snatch kids away from their parents and their homes to become younglings at the Jedi Temple. And that's the reason, because he had no childhood, that he looks at these kids with sort of a disdain, especially in that 7th episode. He looks at them as small adults. Why don't they understand they have to get on and survive? Why are they so weak? Why are they so sheltered? Why don't they they don't get it? They don't get, Jod doesn't get their innocence. He has no real concept of innocence because his childhood was snatched away from him. And that needs to be explained in this finale. The stuff that we are looking at right here, an insight into his backstory, the reason why he's a Force user and Force sensitive, we haven't gotten that yet. And that's why I'm 98% sure that we will be getting it in the finale. But, again, tell me what you think in the chat. Jod is weak, not a Sith or a Jedi. I mean, we haven't really seen him and what he's fully capable of. We don't know if he's weak or not. Nina is the secret. Okay, since you brought it up. Since you brought her up, we'll talk about it. Jedi Nina Nawood. When you look up the cast for Skeleton Crew on Google, there is this mysterious character by the name of Jedi Nina Nawood. Right here. Jedi Nina Nawood. Which is very weird. Obviously, the name Nawood is the same as Jod Nawood, and there's obviously a parallel there. But here's the deal, chat. I don't think Jod is his real name. We've seen so many different aliases from this character of Jod. Captain Silvo, Crimson Jack, Dash Zenton, whatever you want to call him. But I don't know if we know his real name. Why would he tell the kids, these random kids that he met in a prison on a pirate port, his real name? He wouldn't. So it might be revealed who Jude is actually playing in this Skeleton Crew series in this finale. And it might just be, it's a very small chance, but it might just be a character that we recognize. An actual Legends or canon character that we know already from the prequel era. Maybe he was a youngling at the time. Maybe he was a Padawan at the time during the prequel trilogy. But we know who they are. And then when his name is revealed, we go, holy crap, it's him. And that'd be pretty wild too. But I think the name Nawood comes from maybe his former master. This another reason why it's likely that he is a Jedi or was a Jedi at one point. Because this mysterious Jedi Nina Nawood character that only exists when you look up the cast on Google. I don't know, chat. It's very, very strange. Nothing can be confirmed right now, and it leaves us for a crazy finale, that's for sure. Yeah. Dustin says he could easily tell the kids his real name because they're not a threat. Yeah, but why would he? He's so used to telling kids or telling everybody fake names. Why would he tell these 4 random kids real names? Especially when he doesn't look at them as kids, like we just talked about. He doesn't know what kids really are. He doesn't know how to act around kids. So he wouldn't know he wouldn't know that they're trustworthy because they are kids. He sees them as just adults like him. He doesn't understand what a kid is because he never had a childhood like that. You know? So now with that being said, it still shocks me that this poll is at 53% of you saying no, that he's not a Jedi. He's quoting Qui-Gon Jinn. There's this mysterious Jedi Nina Nawood character that shares the same name as him. He knows the ways of the Jedi. He can wield a lightsaber. He can wield the Force. And we've seen Jedi go bad before. Anakin, Dooku. You see Inquisitors. All the Inquisitors were once Jedi. They were Jedi who survived Order 66. They just turned bad. Barriss Offee. She eventually turns back good, but Barriss Offee is one of them. So it's not impossible, definitely not impossible, that Jod was once a Jedi. It would actually explain so much. It would explain how he can wield the Force. It would explain why he's quoting Qui-Gon Jinn. It would explain Jedi Nina Nawood. So I ask you, the 53% of you, the over 50 people that voted no on this poll, then what is he? How is he capable of wielding the Force? How does he know the Jedi way? Why is he quoting Qui-Gon Jinn? And do you just not think that this Jedi Nina Nawood character truly exists? Tell me in the chat. Another Mike who loves Star Wars with a very generous $2 holla. I appreciate that. Mike says, Nina was Jod's Padawan. Search your feelings. Well, that would make Jod a Jedi. If you're saying that Nina was his Padawan, it would still make Jod a Jedi. But I like it. It's possible. It is possible. My thing is, it's just the age. The actress who they have set for Nina Nawood is Haley Webb, and I believe she's in her 30s. So if she's in her 30s, and we're getting a flashback to the time of the Clone Wars, and Jod's in his 20s, then it's unlikely that it's the other way around, you know? Mind of Lucas with a very generous $5 holla, I appreciate that, says, Jod doesn't trust droids. Perhaps his home planet was invaded by the droid army, and he was saved by the Jedi, which was led by the clone armies on his planet. That's definitely a possibility. Him not trusting droids is almost like Djarin not trusting droids. And the reason Djarin doesn't like droids is because of his home was destroyed by the Separatists, and he was saved by the Mandalorians. So it could be a similar instance here with Jod. But the difference is, Din didn't like droids. Jod doesn't really trust droids. You know, at the beginning, he doesn't say like, oh, I hate droids. He says, don't leave a droid, or don't like give a droid. I forget what he says, but it's in like episode 2 or 3, where he more so says, don't trust a droid to do a job that you can do, or something like that. You know? He just doesn't trust the droids to do the job. It's probably just from something in his backstory that he trusted a droid and they didn't come through for him. Yeah. And hey, it was foreshadowing SM-33 punching him in the head, knocking him out cold. But he got back by cutting SM-33's head off. Okay, let's talk some predictions for the finale. Obviously we are, but let's talk predictions for the finale. Do you think that let's put it this way. Do you think that SM-33 will be put back together? Yes or no? We'll have 97 likes on the stream. Are you kidding me? How many likes do we got? 98? There's 160 of you here. Can we smash a freaking like on the stream, please? Thank you very much. The whole pirate crew dies? Oh my god. Jod himself is a droid? Oh my god. Yes, I hope so. SM-33 gets put back together. Depending on the droid to do the job, it will get it done. They will get you in trouble every single time. Well, yeah, I guess. If you want to put it that way. If you want to put it that way. Jod, flashback. Jod is a youngling. Anakin starts being evil. Nina steps in and challenges Anakin. Jod escapes. Anakin kills Nina. I don't think we'll see Anakin. I don't think we'll see Anakin for a few reasons. One, if we are getting an Order 66 flashback, I don't think it will be at the Jedi Temple on Coruscant. It will be somewhere else. If you have too many younglings escape Anakin himself, that'll become an issue. So many people were upset that Reva escaped Anakin. Because you're not supposed to do that. So I think maybe Nina, if she exists, sacrifices herself to clones to have Jod escape. Like in the Bad Batch, when Kanan escapes, his master sacrifices herself to the clones so that Kanan can Caleb at the time, Kanan can escape. Yeah. And Kanan's actually the perfect example of that too. Even Kanan, who still is a Jedi after Order 66, changes his name so that the Empire is not hunting him down. Jod would have likely changed his name as well. So whatever his real name is, when he's a youngling, when he's with the Jedi Order, if he was with the Jedi Order, it's not Jod. It's not Nawood. There's no way. No way. Thanks, Jessica. I appreciate it. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. He's the blonde kid from Order 66? No. No. I think he also quoted Yoda. Yeah, somebody was saying that too. He quoted Yoda. I think so. Mr. Simpson says, it's possible that Jod was Baylan's apprentice. Interesting. And that's why when we hear about Baylan recast before the show. Interesting. I also like the idea that he is Obi-Wan's kid, contrasting to Obi-Wan's morality. I don't think he's Obi-Wan Kenobi's kid, but Baylan Skoll's apprentice would be pretty cool. Because that would give him a tie to knowing Anakin, because Baylan knew who Anakin was. And knowing Ahsoka, because Baylan knows who Ahsoka is too. So that would allow Jod to know who Ahsoka is. Interesting. I like that theory a lot. Imagine he's Baylan Skoll's apprentice, but then what's the point with Jedi Nina Nawood? You know? Snowball comes to save the day and save the children and kill Jod? I doubt it. Kiadi-Mundi's love child? Well, he doesn't have the big head. So, probably not. Jod will pretend to be a Jedi to the parents, but the truth will be out that he is not. I actually think that's going to be what's going to go down in this finale. I think it's going to open with where it ended, with Jod igniting the lightsaber. Actually, what if it doesn't? What if the opening scene of episode 8 is the flashback? What if the opening scene of the finale is Jod's backstory? And we get introduced to Jedi Nina Nawood. It's like how all the other episodes were opening, or a lot of the episodes were opening with the parents on Atten, sort of to like kickstart off the story. What if to kick off the story in the finale, it's Jod's backstory right away? And it gives you sort of an insight into why he is the way that he is. And then it cuts to him igniting the lightsaber in front of the parents, and he pretends to be a Jedi after we just learned that he was once a Jedi. I like that. I like that a lot. So let's say the opening scene is the flashback, is the explanation of his backstory, showing us that he was a Jedi, that he was a good guy at one point, like Anakin was. And even Anakin came back around even after being the most evil person in the galaxy. And then he ignites his lightsaber again, right where the last episode left off. And he doesn't, of course, kill the parents and the kids, but he pretends to be a Jedi. He pretends to be what he's been pretending to be since he got there, the Republic emissary. And the kids don't say a word because of his threat on the ship beforehand. He threatened to chop up his parents if they said a word. So the kids will stay silent because they're scared. Until Jod leaves them, then the truth will come out. Now, there's a few scenes still that we haven't seen yet, only 2 actually, and that is the 4 of them, Wim, Fern, and their parents, up in the supervisor's tower, and these 4, Neil, Wim, his dad, and KB, speeder biking through the city, I guess. Yeah, the city. So these 2 scenes kind of give away a lot. 1, the parents and the kids will get away from Jod. Clearly, they're not with Jod right now. And 2, they will get up in the supervisor's tower where we will learn the supervisor's true identity, and that Jod is probably up there too. Because they're looking up there scared. Fern's almost crying. He's probably trying to get down the barrier so the pirates can arrive. And that's likely what's going on here. Yeah. Yes, Damien? Yes, Damien. Alex, what's up? Yes, I think he will be. KB will fix SM-33 because we may need some more important information that comes from him. I think they need SM-33 because they need backup. But the problem is they would have to get his body. Yeah. Damien says, Do we think that the Onyx Cinder is the only ship that got the message? That's actually really interesting take. Is the Onyx Cinder the only ship that got the message from the parents? I don't know, because they picked it up first. So maybe, or maybe not. A theory that was brought up last stream, which was a great one, is that they use the technology that allowed the communication beacon to get outside the barrier. They use that technology on the pirate ship to get back inside the barrier. Yeah. 2 of the pirates heard the message. That's true. Nathan says, I believe Jod was kicked out of the Jedi Temple, or of the Jedi Order, during Order 66. I bet that he was bullied and Anakin teased him. Okay. It's possible he could have left the Jedi Order before Order 66, but I don't know. We'll see. But having said that, this scene and this scene will be in the finale, and it looks like there's some sort of explosion happening behind them. I feel like there's no doubt that the pirates are going to make it down to the planet, but tell me what you think in the chat. Oh, Darth Drafter with a very generous $10 holla. Holy crap. Says, could he have been Pong Krell's Padawan? I don't know. Do we know if Pong Krell had any Padawans? Pong Krell, of course, being one of the most hated characters in Star Wars because he pinned the clones against each other in the Umbara arc. Did Pong Krell have any Padawans? Let's look it up. Did Pong Krell have any Padawans? No, Pong Krell did not have any Padawans, but he was a powerful Jedi with a unique fighting ability and defense. Krell was a 4-armed Jedi who had a double-bladed lightsaber. Okay, so it says no here. Oh, wait, but here it says... Oh, maybe not. Yeah, here it says he has a Padawan. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. It would make sense as to why he's such a Pong Krellian. You know? It makes sense as to why he acts so much like Pong Krell. Yeah. Mike, surely Neil's dad is a Jedi in hiding? Oh my god, I doubt that. Who trained Pong Krell? Interesting. Who was Pong Krell's master? Who was Pong Krell's master? Pong Krell didn't have a master. That doesn't even make sense. What? What are we talking about here? Oh, here we go. Never mind. Google AI is wrong sometimes. Pong Krell's master was... it just says his species. Was a... I don't even know. Jedi male. Jedi master. Who during the Clone Wars served as a general of the Grand Army. Hang on. For some reason, it doesn't give a name. He was never given a name. Imagine Jod was his master? Was Pong Krell's master? That'd be crazy. I don't think he'd be old enough for that. But I like where your head's at, Darth Drafter, and I appreciate the $10 holla. I really, really do. I really, really do. We've only seen Neil's dad in snippets for some reason. That's true. Why is Neil's mom the only one who comes to help or to come meet the kids? Where's the dad? It is interesting. Maz would have been great in this show. Okay, let's talk about that. With a finale, 1 episode left. No Maz Kanata. No Hondo Unaka. Well, we saw his ship, but no himself. No Hondo himself. Do we think we'll see any crazy cameos in this finale? I mean, other than my crazy cameos of Din Djarin and Grogu and Thrawn, and maybe Hera, and maybe even Carson Teva, or maybe Omega. But anybody else? Any other crazy cameos that we could be seeing in the finale? Other than the crazy ones I've already been talking about. Yeah. We need to know more about Wim's mom. I thought Wim's mom would be a bigger role, or at least her story would be a bigger role in this show. It seems unlikely now with only 1 episode left. We have just too much to get to in so little time. But with that, let's actually talk about the runtime for this Skeleton Crew finale, shall we? Because there's a big, humongous piece of news about this Skeleton Crew finale runtime, and it might be the best news you've heard all day. We talked about this last stream, but what is the best runtime for the finale that you could hope for? And a lot of you were like, oh, 10 hours, 1 million hours, 24 hours. Of course. But when we talked about it, when we really went down to the brass tacks, we talked about how 45 minutes is probably that sweet spot. 40 to 50, 50 to an hour is a good runtime. It feels sufficient. Anything below 35 seems short, and anything really above 40 or 45 is good. Yeah, see, funny. An hour at least, it's not likely. But we do have good news on that front. Oh, happy birthday to your mom tomorrow, Inklet. Can we get some happy birthdays to Inklet's mom in the chat? Yeah. All right, but let's talk about this. So, Wim's actor, Ravi, was on a podcast. It was actually a live stream. And he accidentally, or on purpose, I guess, told us what the runtime was for this episode, or at least what it could be. Let's put it at that. Take a look.
Do you have a personal favorite episode?
Oh, I'm going to say either 6 or 8.
He says 6 or 8. Okay, well, we know episode 6 is the big sort of Wim KB episode where all the kids come back together, get the Onyx Cinder, that whole thing. It's a very emotional episode. It was the kid-centered episode where all the kids' performances were absolutely incredible. Fern and KB specifically, but Ravi's as well. And that's probably why it was his favorite. It was a lot of kid-centered episode. And then he says the finale, of course. And he goes on to talk about the finale.
My favorites. I did love the last episode so much. That's
yeah,
close,
the moment with
close fourth, I would say, and third. Episode 1 is my third favorite, I would say. But
I know what you're saying on 6.
Yeah, I loved 6, and 8 is just, oh my gosh, 8 is so good.
Oh boy,
it's such a long episode. I'll tell you, it's over.
Yeah.
So it cut. You can tell it cut. Let me go back to here.
Long episode.
I'll
tell you, it's over.
Yeah.
So he says it's, and then it cuts because they don't want us to tell. They don't want it to get out. However, according to Star Wars Santa, shout out to Star Wars Santa. Star Wars Santa, are you in the chat today? I haven't seen him yet, but maybe he is. Star Wars Santa, shout out to him. He was on this live show. This was a live podcast. And he confirms that what he says in this instant is at least 50 minutes. Hang on, let me see. He DM'd me it. Hang on. Star Wars Santa, he says, the clip that was cut out, he says over 50 minutes, quote unquote, over 50 minutes from that interview. I was listening during the live stream and I heard it live, coming from Star Wars Santa himself, who I deem to be a very trustworthy source. So the quote that is cut out here is over 50 minutes. That's what you're missing here at the very end. Take a look.
It's over.
Yeah.
So it's over 50 minutes. So the question becomes, is it 60 minutes? Is it over an hour? Probably not, because he would have said it's over an hour, but he says over 50 minutes. So I'm guessing it's going to be like 54, 53, something along those lines. But is that long enough? Chat? Over 50 minutes. Is that not what we've been asking for this entire time? Bro needs to stop screaming into his mic and let the guest speak. LOL. Yeah, that was kind of weird. But having said that, over 50 minutes. What do we think? Is that long enough? Is that good enough? It is by far the longest episode of the Skeleton Crew show so far. The longest one before this was 48, I think. 48 minutes. That was episode 1. Let me see. Let me double check. Oh, episode 1 was 49. Okay. So over 50 is at least 2 minutes longer. And episode 1 did seem very long. But the last episode was 37. You're talking at least 15 minutes longer than the last episode. And at least 17 minutes longer than the episode before that. That's crazy. So is 50 minutes long enough? Now, runtime wise, to me, it does seem long enough. But is it long enough to answer all these questions? Jod's backstory, who the supervisor is. Will the pirates make it through the barrier? Will the New Republic show up? Will Thrawn show up? Will all this happen? Will we get flashbacks? Will we learn about a flashback of Order 66 or whatever Jod's backstory may be? Is there enough time to do all of that? Is there enough time for a Din and Grogu appearance? Is there enough time for Hera to show up, Thrawn to show up? Is there enough time? Over 50 minutes. What do we think? Over 50 minutes does seem long enough, but maybe not long enough for everything. I agree with that, Brandon. I think we could be getting a cliffhanger. A pretty big one, too, at the end of this show. Not that, like, it'll be like the cliffhanger from episode 7. Like, no, it won't be Jod igniting a lightsaber, and that's how it ends. You have to wait 2 years, 3 years, 4 years until the next season. No, that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about a cliffhanger that sets up the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. Just like Ahsoka did. Just like Ahsoka set up Grand Admiral Thrawn coming back to the galaxy, set up Ahsoka Season 2 with Baylan standing on the Mortis Gods looking out into the distance, looking at a Force Ghost of Anakin Skywalker. It'll be like that. It'll have an ending, but it will still be a cliffhanger. And here's the deal. This cliffhanger might be, that was pissing me off, might be because it's only 15 minutes long, and there's not enough time to answer all the questions, warranting a second season and warranting the story to come in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. 50 minutes is a long time, but is it long enough? And the reason I think it's a cliffhanger as well is because of Jude Law's interview here that we've watched a couple times now, but we're watching just a snippet of it again.
I think fans will say after they've seen the finale.
Sorry, the question that was asked is, what do you think fans will say after they've seen the finale? And this is Jude Law's response.
Spoiler free, of course.
Yeah, I think they'll want more. That's what they'll say. They'll say, when can I get more of this?
They'll want more. It's the very first thing he said. Obviously, it's going to end on some sort of cliffhanger, wanting more of either Jod's character or the kids or whatever it may be. And what he says here, and I love this theory a lot, is
they'll want more. That's what they'll say. They'll say, when's the what? The second season? The Mandalorian and Grogu movie? Because, by the way, it's been confirmed, or actually reported, sorry, not confirmed. It's been reported that Dave Filoni's Mandoverse movie will feature Skeleton Crew cast. Maybe not all of them, but the Skeleton Crew cast. When's the second season? When's the Mandalorian and Grogu movie? When can I get more of this? I think they'll be confounded and kind of, I hope, a little bit upset.
He hopes we'll be upset. I don't know what that means. Does that mean Jod's going to die? Does that mean the kid's going to die? Does that mean Jod's going to end up being a bad guy and that's why we'll be upset? I mean, people were upset by last episode because he was so bad, because he was such a bad guy, murdering SM-33. Is that why we're going to be upset? He hopes we're going to be upset. He's going to die. Tell me in the chat, do you think Jod Wood will die in this finale? I don't think so. Why would you bring in a big-time caliber actor like Jude Law and kill him off in one season? Especially in this time period, the Mandoverse, where he can show up in other places. No deaths, Mike. I'm actually here saying no. I don't think he'll die. For once, I'm saying no. He's not going to die. And that's rare. I don't usually do that, as you all know. Oh, Jordan Rennie with a very generous $10 holla. God damn, Jordan. I appreciate that. And of course, Jordan, I have to thank you again for that insane super chat. Jordan sent the biggest super chat in channel history last stream, so I appreciate it, Jordan. I really, really do. But Jordan said, sorry, I'm just catching up. But do you remember the interview where Ewan McGregor said he'd love to return and wear the Obi-Wan Kenobi, General Kenobi, outfit? Maybe
just maybe, he knew what he was doing. He knew that he was doing Ahsoka at that point. It's possible. Like, I think Ewan McGregor saying he wants to come back and do more Star Wars, wants to be in the Clone Wars armor, that brought him into the Ahsoka season 2. Dave Filoni probably heard that and said, that's a genius idea. Why didn't we do that in the first season of Ahsoka? And how can we do the Mortis God arc in live action? Yeah. But I appreciate it, Jordan. That's very, very generous. And he sends another one. He says, with a very generous $2 holla, another super chat, but I'm already wanting more. That's true. I mean, I do already want more of Skeleton Crew. I don't want it to end on Tuesday, that's for sure. This has been so much fun just predicting and speculating, and it's a great show, so it's really, really good. And you don't want it to end. But the ending might be so good that it's worth it. Like, we're going to want more, obviously, but the ending might be so good that it'll be worth it. Well, let's go back to what he says, because he keeps going. He keeps talking about this ending.
Founded and kind of, I hope, a little bit upset. But it's also got, obviously, it's got a kind of Star Wars glorious ending to it too.
What does he mean by a glorious ending? In Star Wars, it's usually a big battle scene or a lightsaber fight of some sort. Like, every Star Wars movie show ends with a big fight scene. Whether it's in space, whether it's on the ground, whether it's a lightsaber duel, whether it's not a lightsaber duel. What do you think he means by this? Is it going to be the pirates versus just the people of At-Aten? I don't think so. So then who's going to be the third party? Who's going to be the late third party entrance? Come on down. Is it going to be Thrawn? Or is it going to be the New Republic? What do we think? I'm actually going to pull this one up. I want to pull it up. Let's pull it up. By the way, do you think Jod was once a Jedi? 54% of you say no. The math is not mathing, but 56% of you, or 46% of you, say yes. So again, we are just a few small percentages off of 50-50 on that. I mean, it will all be revealed in the final episode, but that's crazy how close that is. Well, let's pull this up. Who do you think will save the day? No, because Thrawn wouldn't be really saving the day. Who do you think will be the third party in the finale? Do you think it will be Thrawn? Or let's just put it Thrawn, or the New Republic? Because Thrawn is the heir to the Empire, so it's the remnant of the Empire with Thrawn, or the New Republic. What do we think? Who is more likely to show up of the two of them? Now, you can make the argument that KB can contact Kim, which would mean she could contact the New Republic. So the New Republic seems a lot more likely. But then you have to remember that somebody, some great fan, translated the coordinates to At-Aten and found out in the Star Wars galaxy where At-Aten resides. And it is very close in proximity to Dathomir. And Dathomir, we know, is where Grand Admiral Thrawn is right now with his army of Night Sisters. He's probably conjuring up a whole army with the remnant of the Empire, the Shadow Council. So he's probably slowly becoming the heir to the Empire, and maybe, just maybe, he hears about a very close-by planet by the name of At-Aten. Let's not forget, Thrawn is supposed to be this strategic genius, the thing that sets him apart from Palpatine, because Palpatine has the Force and a lightsaber and Force lightning. The thing that sets him apart from Palpatine is that his mind, well, obviously Palpatine has a great mind too, but he doesn't have the Force. He doesn't have the Force lightning. He doesn't have a lightsaber, so he has to make up for it with his mind. And there's no better way to sort of tell us, show us that Thrawn is such a freaking genius that he knows about At-Aten. Nobody else in the freaking galaxy could find At-Aten. We noticed for 7 episodes how difficult it was to find this planet. Hundreds of years have passed since anybody has found this planet, and Thrawn could find it like that. That would not only show you how genius Thrawn is, but set him up to be such a big threat.
If he can figure that out in 2 seconds, what we couldn't figure out in weeks, years, decades, centuries, it makes him that awesome. Yeah. Thrawn could find the message from the parents. Maybe. I don't know if the message got sent out past the pirate ship. Like if the pirate ship caught, or the Onyx Cinder caught the message, does it keep going out to everybody else? I don't know. Mr. T. That's funny. Thrawn is Mr. T. Neil's girlfriend will show up. I don't think so, just because at Akron wasn't really leaving any places anytime soon. That poll should include neither. Yeah, I guess it kind of probably should have, but I don't see it where neither show up. Like these, Aden would be absolutely destroyed if the pirates make it through the barrier. They have no defenses, other than maybe one turret that sits on top of the school. Like they don't have a defense system. And the people there would be pretty destroyed pretty quickly by these pirates. They need help. And they clearly set up KB calling, or they set up Kim telling KB if she ever needs help to call her. They set that up for a reason in episode 3. That scene didn't have to happen. KB could have just left, but they didn't. They had her talk to Kim, and Kim tell her, if you ever need help, call me. Or a both section. I probably should have added a both section. What if the New Republic shows up first, and then Thrawn shows up, proving to the New Republic that Thrawn is back? Here's the deal. Ahsoka ended with Hera Syndulla finding out that Thrawn has returned. Because Ezra comes to her and tells her that Thrawn has come back with him. So Hera knows, but the New Republic didn't care. The New Republic was warned multiple times about Thrawn in Ahsoka, and they didn't care. Mon Mothma kind of did, but the other senators did not care at all. So the New Republic has to realize that Thrawn is a threat, and maybe, just maybe, the New Republic shows up on At-Aten, and then Thrawn shows up and destroys them, with a message going out that Grand Admiral Thrawn has returned, the heir to the Empire is here, and then we get a scene of Mon Mothma, because so many fans think Mon Mothma will be in this finale, of Mon Mothma getting the communication from At-Aten that the big blue meanie has returned. And maybe we even get a scene in the Senate. Imagine seeing the old Senate building from the prequel trilogy on Coruscant filled with Mon Mothma in the Senate chamber seat where the Chancellor Palpatine sat for all those years, with Mon Mothma in that seat where they get the news, they get a holo message from somebody, Carson Teva, whoever, anybody, that the big blue meanie has returned. He goes, the big blue meanie's back! The big blue meanie's back! That would be crazy. So for all those people who think that Mon Mothma will be in the episode, there's a theory for you. She gets a transmission on Coruscant that says that Thrawn has returned. Ezra is proof. Ezra is proof. That's true, to an extent. He's not a proof that Thrawn survived, though. His word is just that Thrawn survived. Yeah. Yeah. Put up a poll. Who is your favorite of the 4 kids? Well, I just put up this poll, so I'm going to leave this poll up for a little bit. But, yeah, just tell me in the chat. Tell me in the chat. Who is your favorite of the 4 kids? Neil, KB, Wim, Fern. For me, I think it's KB. It was Neil to start, but I think KB's overtaken that. Yeah. Star Wars Politics says, don't get my hopes up. Hey, that's what I'm all about here. Getting hopes up, killing dreams, you know? Interesting. This poll currently sits at 69 to 31. 69% of you guys, nice, think that the New Republic will show up. Well, 31% say Thrawn. I think both is probably the most likely, but we'll see. Melody of Light says, Mike, don't you think the people who set up the planet wouldn't have a plan B for defenses? I mean, this is actually the richest planet. You don't think that they would have a defense system? More than one measly gun? I think they probably do. I think the security droids themselves probably go like crazy mode when activated. But the people of At-Aten aren't going to fight.
or they don't know how to fight. So I'm sure the defense system is there in place. I mean, there's this massive barrier that nobody can get through. But all the other planets were destroyed. All of the other 8 jewels of the Old Republic were destroyed. So whatever their defense system was the same as AT-ATN, and it failed. It failed. So it's not impossible for AT-ATN to be destroyed. Yeah. The blue skin of Neil is foreshadowing? Okay. It does look like it's Neil and KB for the most part. Some Ferns, a couple Whims, but KB and Neil seem to be taking the vote over there. Yeah. Star Wars Politics says, I need to go into the finale with 0 expectations, just to know that I can enjoy it. No big theories here. Maybe the start of the First Order, the funding would make sense. The whole story, this whole story. Think whim? Think whim. I do agree with you that I think that AT-ATN's treasure is what funds the First Order eventually. But the First Order is not going to come around for a little bit. So I think it might fund Thrawn first and then be handed down when Thrawn's destroyed to the First Order. What if Thrawn doesn't die? No, people would hate that. I was going to say, what if Thrawn doesn't die to like Luke or anybody? He just dies to Snoke. Snoke comes in and chops his head off. But I don't think people would like that. No. Wim has changed the whole galaxy just by his Wim has changed the whole galaxy just by his discovery. What do you mean? And it just so happens, and so on, etc. Why is this story important to the larger Star Wars galaxy as a whole? Well, it's obviously important because whoever controls AT-ATN controls the war. Whoever gets this money wins. Yeah. Neil's dad looks like he can fight. That's true. Would AT-ATN have some type of droid army? Yeah, we don't know how many droids there are. How many of these safety droids there are. Maybe there's a whole army of them. I don't know. We'll see. We shall see. I think whatever their defense system is, I mean, the other 8 planets failed, so AT-ATN is likely to fail too. But whatever their defense system is, it makes sense that it would fail. And that's why they need backup. That's why they need the New Republic. That's why maybe Thrawn will show up. Because their defense system will fail. Here's the deal. AT-ATN, the people of AT-ATN have been so lost for so long that even if Thrawn showed up, they wouldn't see him as a bad guy. Think about it for a second. If Thrawn shows up and saves the day, in theory, if he saves the day, killing all the pirates, taking them out, saving AT-ATN, he could be the savior. Especially if KB calls for the New Republic and Thrawn shows up. They could think that Thrawn is the New Republic, and he shows up and he saves the day. He kills the pirates. Then the people of AT-ATN will think that Thrawn's the good guy. They'll be on his side, and they'll just give him the credits. They'll gift it to him. They'll just hand it over. He doesn't have to take it from them. He doesn't have to kill the people of AT-ATN. He just needs to save them. You know? He doesn't have to do anything. He doesn't have to kill these people. He could save them. It's pretty wild. Jared says, what 8 planets are you talking about? I missed that one. Well, AT-ATN is one of 9 hidden planets. The other 8 were destroyed long ago. AT-ATN was the only one that remained hidden. They go to At-Akron in episode 4, which is one of the other 8 planets. Those other 8 planets were all destroyed, so their defense systems were destroyed. Yeah. Yeah. The droid truly sounded like the male Kaminoans, or a male Kaminoan, when he was talking with Obi-Wan in Attack of the Clones. It was sort of like a 2.0 version of that. Yeah, and we talked about that too. They even say the same thing, like, I hoped that you would like it or whatever. Yeah, or I hoped you'd be pleased or whatever. Yeah. Help isn't a job. That's what protection droids are for. First episode. Really? Jedi say, oh yeah, I get you. Because when Wim wants to be a Jedi, they say that's what the protection droids are for. I get you. Yeah. Yeah. I want to know more history in the backstory for At-Aten. I hope we do get more. Like, the fact that it's called a jewel of the Old Republic, what does that mean? What are the great works? Why are they really here? Who hid the planets? All those questions need to be answered. I think they will be in the finale, but we'll see. Yeah. 10 planets and 9 were destroyed. No. No, it's 9 planets and 8 were destroyed. Yeah. The Blue Republic? Haha, get it, Thrawn? Yeah. Jeannie from Tahini says, how did the Republic just lose their mint? Kind of a big thing to misplace. Well, the Republic lost their control. Maybe they still knew it was there up until Palpatine took over. Maybe not. I'm not caught up on the New Republic. The High Republic books. But Chancellor Lena So has these great work projects in the High Republic books. And it just so happens that this, whatever operation's being run on At-Aten is called the Great Works. Probably not a coincidence. So maybe Lena So is in charge of that project and keeps it a secret to only her and maybe some other people. But doesn't Lena So die? Hang on, let's check this out. Chancellor Lena So death. Let's see. Is she dead? Is she dead, chat? I don't know if she died. This here says that So was reduced to silence. Does that mean she died, or what's up with that? Reduced to silence? Does anybody who reads the High Republic know that she's dead or not? Chat? Didn't Thrawn have a sentence containing the great works, or am I mistaken? Oh, I have no idea. In Ahsoka, you're saying? I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure. What is the source that Mando and Grogu could show up in the finale? I was not here when you talked about that. Oh, there's no source. It's just what I think's going to happen. Yeah. I think it's going to set up the Mandalorian And Grogu movie. Will they show up? I think yes. But you guys are not on board, I guess. Yeah. Oh my God. Martha J with a very generous $20 holla. Holy crap, Martha. I appreciate that quite a bit. Says, I think the show is pretty good, but Jude Law's character acting seems to be rather forced. Really? Maybe I don't like his acting, or maybe he's just meant to be disliked. Well, he is definitely meant to be disliked. But I actually disagree with that wholeheartedly. I think Jude Law is an incredible actor and has done an incredible job in this show so far. It is so forced on purpose because he is supposed to be hated. But yeah, I appreciate it, Martha. I really, really do. That's very, very generous. And I'm glad you're liking the show. I'm glad you're liking it. Yeah. Mithrandir. The Mithrandir. Emissaries were Jedi. So after they fell, or even after the Republic started to be threatened, then they would have kept At-Aten's location for themselves as a form of precaution against Palpatine. Interesting. I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah. Aren't the X-Wings that were sent to follow the pirates? Yeah, but they lost the pirates. They lost the pirates through hyperspace. What if in their world, the Jedi are like comic book characters in our world? It's possible. I mean, that's kind of what it's like to win. Yeah. Yeah. The only way the Republic or the pirates can get to the planet is if somebody shuts down the barrier. Yeah. I think Jod will be shutting down the barrier. Yeah. I'm sure he will go and meet this supervisor, where it will be this big reveal of who the supervisor is, which I think it's going to be a droid, but tell me if you think it's somebody else in the chat. And I appreciate the hearts, guys. I really do. And I think Jod will meet the supervisor, take down the supervisor, and figure it out. Take down the storm and bring his pirates on in. And not only will that sort of be a problem because you're going to allow the pirates to come in, but it's also going to be a problem because anybody else now can enter the atmosphere. Anybody else can now find the planet. Somber says, hello there. Grogu should be everywhere if I think about it. The cuteness and stuff. Yeah, Grogu should be in everything. I mean, look down. He's on your shirt right now. Shit. He's not on my shirt, but look what is. Got milk? This is my favorite shirt. It's awesome. Yeah. Yeah. The supervisor's a droid. I agree. Yeah. Yeah. He's going to kill his crew as revenge? What? Why did the security bot tell Wim's dad that he was in a restricted area when he was looking in the forest for the kids? Interesting. Why was where the ship was a restricted area? Did the security droids know that the Onyx Cinder was buried in the woods there? Maybe. It is an AT-AT ship. But it's also possible that that forest was just cautioned off for their own safekeeping. I don't know. Maybe. WUV Grad said the Jedi have always been a stuff of legend. Even at their max, they were only a fraction of the number of systems in the galaxy. There is no way that they could have been everywhere. Yeah, there's only 10,000 of them really at their peak, or around 10,000 of them at their peak, and they can't control everything at all times. True. I think Wim's dad and Fern's mom know who the supervisor is. Wim's dad had the supervisor review in the first episode, and Fern's mom works for in the supervisor's office. Yeah, but the supervisor's tower, nobody's allowed to go inside. So I really doubt that either of them know who it is. Yeah. Remember the scene in the Clone Wars when Obi-Wan and Anakin leave a planet that also had a defense system in the defense system of ships that shot down everything that was trying to leave? Yes. Was that Anakin and Obi-Wan though? Whoever was on there was this one little kid on the planet who controlled all the droids, and everybody who tried to escape the planet died because there was this defense grid that wouldn't let you leave. I do remember that. That was a good episode. Yeah. Wim's mom is Stephen. No, I doubt it. The tree suckers could be why they don't want them in the woods, because they may be deadly. I don't know. Weren't the tree suckers the ones in the Acolyte? No, they looked different. They did look different. I mean, they could be. They were like baby versions of them, though, if they were. Yeah. All right, we went through that. We talked to Ahsoka. I think there's something else I wanted to get to. Oh, yeah. Let's watch this. This is a behind the scenes of building or constructing the Onyx Cinder. Let's take a look at this. This is pretty cool.
Captain! Why did you send out the Onyx Cinder?
So this model is kind of unique in this day and age because it doesn't have any 3D prints on it. It's all handmade.
This one's got kind of interesting mechanical aspects to it. As you see, there are engines that swivel here. So there are 4 additional motorized axes just built inside the ship. Yeah, the lighting's a little bit more sophisticated. There's LEDs all over. And inside the engines, there are little LED pixel rings. I took advantage of using those to have a little bit of a chaser pattern on them, so it's a little bit like flickering effect happening inside.
So the thing about the practical miniature, it will sometimes drive the look.
The paint job of this model is what you're seeing on the CG model. It affects every time you see the ship in a way that I found really very pleasing.
It's so cool that still to this day they use all the old stuff that George Lucas did. I mean, they're building models when they could just easily make this ship in CGI, but they still stick to the old stuff. It's so cool. But they did say that none of this was 3D printed, which never happens nowadays. All handmade, which is so cool. Just like they did with the original trilogy. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. It's awesome. They aren't looking at the new model, though. This is the old model.
It's all handmade.
This one's got kind of interesting mechanical aspects.
It would have been so cool, and I still don't have the Lego set, and I don't know anybody who does have the Lego set, so if you do, tell me in the chat or tell me in the Discord. If you're not yet in the Discord, there's a link in the description below to Discord called The People Who Love Star Wars. Go join it immediately, and if you're not yet a member of this channel, it helps out greatly, keeps the lights on, and we have a giveaway at the end of every month for those members, and you get instant access to a members-only Discord and whatever. Think about becoming a member. Link is in the description below. But we don't usually... the Lego set that was released for the Onyx Cinder came out before the show, and that doesn't usually happen. I thought it would have been so cool if it had the ability to shed that armored skin off, and then it was the actual Onyx Cinder that we see now. It would have been so cool. Like, only people who had the Lego set would be like, what is this? And they accidentally happen upon it. It'd be cool. Yeah. Star Wars rocks. Indeed it does. Indeed it does. Spock is the supervisor? Okay. Yeah. Practical effects are less expensive than total CGI. Yeah, because you have to pay all the people to do the CGI work. That's true. But it's also to make it feel like Star Wars. Yeah. They just need to show them taking the armor off. What? They just need to show them taking the armor off? Don't think the Lego does that from the box. Yeah, I don't think it does either, but it would have been cool if it did. It would have been cool. All right, I do have to get on out of here. We've been going for well over 2 hours, which we rarely ever do, but I felt like we should have stayed a little bit longer because Saturdays are fun streams where a lot more people get to stop by, and I appreciate it. Let's end this poll. By the way, 62% of you guys think that the the New Republic are coming rather than Thrawn. So I think it could be both. I'm leaning more towards Thrawn because Thrawn can come in and be the hero. People of Ad-Adden will trust him if he comes in and saves the day, which would be pretty cool. I appreciate the hearts, guys. I really, really do. And Zelen for the supervisor, I doubt it. But what are you going to do? We'll see. Again, huge shout-outs to Martha J. for the very generous super chat, Jordan, Darth Drafter, Lucas, Mike, Rose, Trent, Inklet, Star Wars Jedi Podcast, and Darth Plagueis Lives. I appreciate all of that. Skywalker Academy with a 1-month membership badge. That's awesome. I appreciate you all so much more than you will ever know. We only got one more stream until episode 8. So episode 8 is on Tuesday. Monday will be our prediction stream for episode 8, and that will be the last prediction stream we have for Skeleton Crew. So don't forget to come by on Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for that prediction stream where we'll be talking all predictions for episode 8. How correct can we get for this 8th episode, this finale, this final piece to the puzzle of Ad-Adden in the Skeleton Crew series? Well, only time will tell, but stay tuned for that live stream on Monday. And of course, hit that like button if you have not already. How many likes are we up to now? 137. I'll take it. I'll take it. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe, and hit that bell so you get notified every time I post a video in my pretty face. Show up the recommended feed of yours. Will we see Din and Grogu in the Skeleton Crew finale? Will we see Thrawn? Will we see Hera? Will we see Mon Mothma? Or will we see none of them? We'll find out on Tuesday. But until then, hope you have a great rest of your evening. And may the Force be with you. Always. Oh, yeah. What a great stream. What a great show. You guys are the absolute best. I appreciate you all so much more than you will ever know. Smash a like on your way out of here if you have not already. It really helps me out greatly. And hit that subscribe, of course. We just hit 106,000 subscribers, by the way, if you guys didn't notice. 106,000 on our way to 107,000 and 108 and 9 and 10 and then 200,000 and then 1 million. No, I'm kidding. But got to celebrate all those little wins. 106,000 is a great milestone, and I appreciate all of you so much more than you will ever know. Hit that subscribe and hit that bell so you get notified every time I post a video. Join the Discord if you are not yet in the Discord. Please keep the conversation going on there, and I appreciate it. Until then, I hope you have a great rest of your evening, great rest of your lives, and good night, everybody.